Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of the show, LinkedIn Connections, this is season 7 of my podcast. Across every episode, we are talking all things resilience. And today, I'm joined in the virtual recording studio by Tommy Johnson. We're connected on LinkedIn, and Tommy does some amazing work for men's mental health. He's had a career in KBB, retail and beyond, which he's going to bring to life. But first of all, let's welcome him to the episode. Tommy, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for that intro. What a wonderful, wonderful write-up.
Listen, I'm getting good at these. I'm 100 plus episodes in. I'm on my 7th season. I have to thank our sponsors and our friends at Carousel UK. Shout out to Marcus, shout out to Rob, shout out to all of the gang. Without them, we don't have a show. And there's another special person, the man Charlie Hula. He's the producer. He's the editor. He turns my useless ramble. You know, when he brings me back on track when I lose, when I lose direction, when I want to bring Fulham Football Club into every conversation, he stops me doing that. But you know, maybe we'll have some Euro-themed football banter, Tommy, in this episode. Yes. So thank you, Charlie. Let's roll in, because amazingly we're on our next episode. Let's begin, Tommy, if it's okay, mate, by getting to know you as a person. Let's talk about you inside work, you outside of work. Tell me about yourself.
Yes, let's give it a go. Okay, so Tommy Johnson, let's give you a bit of a brief rundown. I am a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm a best friend, I'm a leader, I'm a volunteer. I've lived and worked in 9 countries. I've been to some wonderfully interesting places, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Dubai, lived in Australia for a couple of years, and now I'm back in the UK. What am I into? You mentioned football there. I'm not sure if I should mention this on the podcast, but I'm a big Newcastle United fan, had a season ticket for many, many years. I'm not sure if I've humanised or villainised myself with that.
Hawaii the lads, mate. They're a football team. They're a football team that Fulham can't seem to beat at the moment. To be honest,
we never used to be good in the capital, but we've picked up lately. We're doing okay. So, so well into the football, and then just in terms I've mentioned there about the volunteering, I work for a wonderful charity called Andy's Man Club. I run one of the groups for them with a team of volunteers, and we do a great job in creating safe spaces for men to talk about mental health. Outside of that, I love running. I go to the gym, just normal stuff really, but anything that I can do to support my physical and mental health is the type of things that I'm into really.
You do know I compete with you on a daily basis in the KBB Running Club league table, don't you? You do know that.
Yeah.
I think as we record, I'm slightly ahead of you, and I mean slightly ahead of you.
Yeah, I've only been in a couple of days though. To be fair, Peter, haven't I? So I mean, you've got a little.
Yeah, listen, it's a week by week basis, mate. So this week, I'm not competitive, Tommy, but here it is. You can see it.
What I prepared earlier. Yeah.
Funny enough, I've got it here. So, and it's a great thing to get the industry moving, to motivate people. Tommy Johnson is in 3rd place because this week he's ran 20.6 kilometres, which ain't bad. We're only on Thursday. It's not bad. In 2nd place is Peter Raymond Jones, who amazingly has done 20.9 kilometres.
There we go.
So I've done 3 more steps than you, mate. Basically, this week. Cassie's at the top of the leaderboard with 23.11k. And you know what? There's some real serious runners that have signed up to the club. There's people like me that kind of do it as an out. I do it to clear my head, to start feeling well. And I didn't run for a while this year when I was coming back from a double stress fracture, and I realise now how much I missed it. So I am in competition with myself and everyone else, but it's a bit of fun for me. But you love your running and fitness, don't you?
I do, and I have done for many years. I've ran for a long, long time, and I use running for me is clarity. Running for me is it's great for the body, right? I mean, obviously there are cardiovascular benefits to running, but for me it's all mental. I get up early. I'm an early bird. I go to bed early. I get up early. So 5 o'clock, my alarm clock goes off. That was a lie. It's actually 5:10 when my alarm goes off. I roll the legs out of bed. I get up, I get sorted, and I go out on the road. And I do it. I also go to the gym. So I go to the gym 3 days a week, and then I go running 3 days a week, and I just alternate between because my joints are getting a little bit older now, Peter. So those days of running 6 days a week and doing 40 miles a week are probably a little bit behind me, but I get great benefits out of growing run. But as I said, it's the mental aspect more than anything else.
It's I turn 50 next birthday, so you know the distances, the pace, the challenges I used to have are not there. But I've really enjoyed since I've come back from injury, just slowly bringing my 5k pace down, slowly bringing my 10k down. You know, me and my missus went and ran 10 miles the other week. Well, I haven't ran 10 miles for a long time, and I'm saying that as a veteran marathon runner. I've done a lot of marathons over the years, but the thought of putting myself through that grueling training, I'm not sure, but the impact it's had on all of my decision making, all of my
Yes.
thought process, my creativity, my ability to relax, my ability to rest makes a huge difference for me. Wouldn't say I'm a 5 a.m. merchant every day. There'll be some days I go out early. There'll be some days I go out late. There'll be some days I go out in the middle of the day. I guess I'm in a, you could call it an enviable position being a business owner, that I can, if I want, and I live near the seaside, so if I want to go to the beach and run a 5k during the day, I could do that. You know, I've got
Yeah.
as long as I build it in, I can do that. So it does work, and it does add something, but it is that time to think. I have more ideas. I have more creative ideas when I'm running than I do when I'm sitting at my desk.
Absolutely. Likewise, I think we talk about we're talking about resilience. We talk about mental health. There are happy chemicals. Your serotonin, your oxytocin. Your dopamine. These your endorphins. These are released. All four of those are released by exercise. So you talk about thinking clearly. Dopamine is our best friend at work. It gives us clarity. It seeks out goals. It helps us to want, to drive, to achieve something, and that's not just professional. That's personal as well, right? But the endorphins is the one. That time out on the road, that pain you feel in your legs, but the pleasure that it gives you off the back of it. And it's not a pleasure for everybody, right? I have a very close friend of mine who openly tells me how much he despises running, but he very much enjoys the benefits that he gets from it thereafter. Another one as well is I do cold showers on a morning, and that helps to release.
Namaste.
It helps to release serotonin. Right? But there is nothing worse than cold showers on a morning. But the fact that you're putting yourself through something that you do not want to do right at the start of the day sets you up mentally for the rest of the day. There is nothing that's going to come along that's going to test you more than a shower spitting cold water at you at the first part of the day. So, but yeah, these are all things that helps to boost your resilience to anything else that might come along in the day.
Cold water therapy, putting the miles in, focusing on your mental health, 5 a.m. merchant, changing the world. You hear all this, and sometimes you're reading it, it's like, come on, that can't be true. But when you speak to someone like yourself who actually says, look, I do it, I don't actually enjoy it that much, but I get it done and it helps me. That I think is the reality. When I lace up my trainers, sometimes I'm like, do I really want to do it? But I've kind of trained my mind to think, it's only 25 minutes. It's only half hour. It's only 45 minutes. The world's still going to turn if I go and do something else for 45 minutes. Not that much is going to change. But actually being able to separate yourself to do that, that's the challenge, isn't it? That's the challenge. So
go on. Sorry.
No, go. You're going to say so. Go.
I was just going to say a couple of little bits on that, right? So the bit that you're absolutely right. You train your mind to go, it's only 30 minutes, it's only 45 minutes. Yeah. I'm going to get real benefit off the back of it. There's a couple of things that I always say, right, is that people talk a lot about motivation, Peter. Okay, how do you have the motivation to get up on a morning? Now I do that because I've got 4 kids, a busy life, and that's the only time that I'm going to get to exercise. Outside of that, I ain't getting out and exercising. I'm not coming in after a long day at work, saying to the kids, getting everything sorted out, having some dinner, and then going out on the road. I've got to do it first thing. But what I always talk about when someone says that to me about where do you get the motivation from? It's not motivation. You know, the analogy that I always give is that motivation is setting the alarm clock. Discipline is swinging your legs out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to get out of bed most mornings, Peter, but it's discipline that makes us that makes us do that. That makes us get up and give that a go. You know, so it's it is doing something that you don't particularly want to do. Don't get me wrong, I
But
do get a lot of enjoyment, but
Tommy, when we talk about your career, I'm going to ask whether some of of your early career is giving you that discipline. So I believe it may well have done
yes,
something you did there. But you mentioned your 4 children.
yeah.
Let's talk about them. Who are they, mate? What's their names? How old are they? Come on, let's just get to know them.
Let's get in there. So I've got Owen, who is 16. He's just finishing his GCSEs. He's got 3 exams left to go, and he's the type of kid that's just breezed through life. He is a wonderful, wonderful person. Really proud of him. He's developed into a young man. He is. He helps us around the house. He looks after his little sister. He's just a lovely, lovely person. We went camping recently, and he was helping getting the fire pit going, cooking the food for us. I'm sitting back, relaxing. I'm thinking, wow, this is why I had 4 kids. I can understand now what's going on all these years of raising children, and now it's because he's cooking the sausages instead of me. It was wonderful. So, but that's
Shout out to Owen.
yeah, shout out to Owen.
Good luck with the next 3 GCSEs.
Yeah, thank you. I'll pass that on. And then we've got Adam. Second child, typical second child. He's like me when I was a second child as well. He is. He's full of. He's full of energy. He always likes to be out and about. He is. If there's anything happening, if there's any little bit of bother to get into, that's Adam. He's the one that's seeking that type of stuff out. If there's a phone call comes from the school, that's Adam. It's him who we've got to have a conversation about. But he's doing wonderfully. He's got some great friends. He's just started boxing recently as well, so he's turning his energy and attention into other things. So yeah, he's doing really well as Adam. Not really academia. He's brilliant at speaking and connections and building relationships. He'll be absolutely fine through life. I'm sure of it. He's a chip off the old block in that regard. Then we've got Lewis. So Lewis is 11 years old. He is super smart. He is academic. He's much more academic than I ever was. He really loves school. We just read his report last night, and it was talking about how kind and supportive he was at school, and I absolutely had a little tear going on. So proud of him, and he will be. In terms of education, he'll have he's again got a very bright future. And then on to my little princess, Kate, who is 8 years old. She was born in Bahrain. I mentioned before, right? We lived and worked in different countries. So she's my Bahraini princess. She plays for a team in Hartlepool. She plays for Hartlepool under 8s in a program called Pools Youth. And she is an absolute bundle of energy. She keeps me on my toes. We dance and sing together. I love going to watch her playing football. She is the little princess that I always wanted. So yeah.
So we've got Katie, the Bahrainian princess, who plays for Hartlepool.
Yeah.
Lewis, Adam, and Owen.
Yeah.
So what that says to me straight away is I wouldn't want to be the Bahrainian princess's first boyfriend. That's a tough gig with you as the old man and the 3 older brothers, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's a tough one. But Charlie's going to love it. He'll probably edit it out, right? But there's a seamless link to Fulham in this because you mentioned being a Geordie boy. And I've seen Fulham play Newcastle home and away over the years. We've won a few, we lose more than we win, but we've had a lot of good times. I've also, just picking up on where your daughter plays football, I've seen Fulham lose at Hartlepool away over the years as
there
well.
you
In the
go.
in the good old days of the lower leagues, mate. When I look at the North East, I've seen Fulham win and lose at St James's Park. I've seen us win. Well, I've seen us lose and lose at the Riverside and Ayrton Park, and I've
Yeah.
seen us in the stadium in Leighton Roker Park over the years as well. So they say a lot about modern stadium. It makes grounds better, but sometimes they lose a little bit of their soul, don't they, as well? So
They
it's.
definitely do. Need a bit of character, don't you, in your stadium? That's
I
for
mean,
sure.
we'll come on to your 9 countries soon, but if we just travel down and go to Darlington and just follow our way down, I've seen Fulham losing most places,
It's a
most places
recurring
across the
theme about
country.
Fulham, yes.
Yeah, no, not so much now. We're doing all right. So
You
you
are.
mentioned that you unusually, Mr. Johnson, you mentioned you worked in 9 countries. So that's
Yes.
quite a stat. So take us on a global tour of what you've been up to then.
Okay, so
Or maybe start with where it began.
well, it began, and you referenced it earlier on. My career began with the Royal Air Force. So
Yeah.
I was in the military for 4 years. I was so anything to do with the ground fleet, anything with wheels or tracks, or anything from tanks to coaches to trailers to Land Rovers. That was my job to maintain the fleet. With ground fleet, and then I went on a tour to the Falkland Islands for 4 months, and then realised, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Being away from home for that length of time.
You're the second guest in 4 episodes that spent time with the military in the Falkland Islands. That's all I'm going to say. And if you throw in that my youngest son Henry spent 3 months there last year as well, it's not the place to go, isn't it?
It's I think you're the only one that hasn't been. Maybe you need to rectify that.
Yeah,
we'll get you over there.
Maybe I wouldn't mind to stop off at Cape Verde or something like that. I don't know if I'd want to go. I don't know if I want to go all the way. So let's go back to RAF, ground force, anything with a wheel.
Yeah, so I think so with the Royal Air Force, and I decided it wasn't the career path for me. Too much of a home bird, which is obviously counter to my later career. But left there, machine engineer in a factory. Then I met someone, an old girlfriend, and they said, well, "I think you'd be good at sales. You're pretty good at talking. You've got a bit of a mouth on you." I'm not sure if that was a compliment at the time, but think you'd be pretty good at sales. So I jumped into retail with Phones for You, and that was a wonderful.
Can you still do it? Can you still do it? Can you still do it, Tommy? Yeah, you still got that
We're
Phones for You.
almost there.
Yeah.
Fingers are a bit older now, but no, it was a wonderful experience. Met some fantastic people that I'm still in touch with today. It was a hard-driven sales environment, but hey, if you could sell, it was a good place to be, right? And I had a really good time in there, and I did that for a couple of years. And then again, people come tap on your shoulder. We've heard about what you're doing over there, and then I went to work with. I went to work in health clubs, sales and marketing manager at a health club, and it kind of just moved on from there. Just interestingly, particularly in the early part of the career, I moved to different industries, moved to different sectors. So from the health clubs, I went into financial advice. Halifax were looking for people who with proven sales leadership experience to sell their financial products, and they were training me, so qualifying, putting me through the qualifications to be a financial advisor. So I decided to jump in with both feet. I became a financial advisor, and then I ended up being a regional manager looking after the financial advisors. And it was a great time. I was in financial advice for 6 years.
What country are you in at the moment? You still back in the UK?
I'm in the UK, yeah. I'm in the UK. We've been back to the UK for 6 years now.
Yeah. No. What part of the UK was you in as a financial advisor?
Financial
in the UK?
advisor, yeah. This in the UK at that point. And at that point, Peter, I mean, I mentioned before about being in the RAF and not wanting to be abroad, not wanting to be away from friends and family. And then while I was in financial advice, I worked for Santander at the time. I got a phone call from an old leader of mine from the Phones for You days who offered me an opportunity that just absolutely transformed my life. And I still to this day can't understand why I said yes. One of my greatest leaders of all time, a guy called Mark Bain. I got a call from him, and he offered me a role in Saudi Arabia, running a fashion retail business, and it was just so ridiculous that I was mesmerized by it, you know. And that's the type of person I am, in that I look for change, I look for development. I'm always wanting to learn new things. So when somebody throws some change at me, I'm like, let's do this. Let's go for it. That's the type of thing that gets my juices flowing. When things, it might sound a bit silly, this, but when things are too easy, I don't feel comfortable. So I need to hunt out. I need to hunt out something that gives me complexity in life, in work, in personal life as well. So it is. I said yes. Went over to Saudi Arabia, and became
As you do.
as you do. I mean, who knew there was even retail in Saudi Arabia? This is how naive I was. I'm thinking, retail in Saudi? What, they shop? Did he really shop over there? Went across, and obviously it is just, such an enormous place. There's shopping malls on every corner. Retail is thriving. There was so much money being thrown around. I work for a company with 2,500 shops, 85 fashion brands, your Zara, your Bershka, your Pull&Bear, Marks and Spencer's, Gap, you name it, we had it. And I was in Saudi Arabia for 3 years, and it was such a wonderful time. I mean, it was so interesting, because every corner you looked round, there was something new that I'd never experienced before. So it was a good time. And then went on to Bahrain. That's where my Bahraini princess was born. Did a year working for a family-owned fashion footwear and home business there. And then at the end of that contract, which was a one-year contract, it was time to come back to the UK. But I couldn't stay for long. We were back for 5 months, and then I got another phone call. Tommy, would you like to come and do a job? And this time it was in Australia, with Woolworths Group, running a $800 million business, looking after the southeast quadrant, if you like, of Australia for Woolworths Group, for a brand called Big W. And again, just had a great time. Such a family orientated place. The Aussies are beautiful, beautiful people. Great setup and life, and everything's built for being outdoors and sport and togetherness. It was just, it was right up my street. It was a great, great time over in Australia.
Fair play, mate. So is that the tour over, or is there a few other destinations on there?
Well, from Australia we moved back. So as I said, we've been back to the UK for around six years now, and I've worked for some great organisations since I've been back. New Look, Vodafone, then moved on to Magnet Kitchens before, and now working at Benson's for Beds. I'm a regional manager for them, looking after 23 locations, and it is a great place to work. I work with some wonderful people. I mean, the team in the store, let's just start there. They are a pleasure to lead, and I'm learning new things with them every day. So yeah, it's a great place to be. But in terms of the global tour, I think that's it. I suppose the one point with the 9 countries. Go on, sorry.
I mean, if you look at that, right, there's not many people you meet in the pub or you talk to over a coffee that goes, yeah, I used to hang out at St James's Park. I was quite a home bird, but actually, I've been with the Royal Air Force, and I've gone all over the world. I've spent time in the Falkland Islands. I was working back in the UK, but someone asked me to do a stick or twist, and I went yes, and I moved to Bahrain. I've worked in Saudi. I loved my time in Australia. Now I'm back home. I'm a dad. I've got a family of 4. Boom. That's the Tommy Johnson story. And I have to say, mate, what a fantastic introduction to you as a person. And what a great half of this episode of the Foyne Jones Show, because I think what you've been able to do is bring your personality to life, bring your charm to life, bring your charisma to life, and also, talk about a career, talk about being a family man, talk about being a parent. And after the break, we're going to talk about something which is very close to your heart, men's mental health. we're going to I've raised lots of money for various different mental health charities, and it's something I talk about continually. I think you go above and beyond any of us fundraisers and any of us kind of cheerleaders and people that are always having a conversation about it. You go even further with some of the work you're doing, and that's what caught my attention on a social channel. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. I saw your post. We are connected, and it's one of the big reasons I wanted to get you onto this episode on this series, because we're talking about resilience and we're talking about men's mental health. So we'll see you the other side of the break.
Thanks, Peter.
With over 35 years of global expertise in crafting, designing and delivering high-quality kitchen solutions, Carousel offers an unmatched variety of products including surfaces, sinks, taps and appliances designed to elevate and transform any culinary space.
Welcome back to the show. As you know, Tommy Johnson is in the studio.
Hello.
We've heard about a career that's took him over the globe. We've got to know him. We've got to know his family. And now, on the theme of resilience, and this is a very special episode today, the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about men's mental health and some of the work you do, Tommy, and you should be applauded for a very special charity. And I'm gonna hand the floor over to you to just, for anyone who doesn't know, to talk about what you're doing, who you do it for, and why you're doing it.
Thanks, Peter. Really appreciate that. And listen, let me just take you back to what you said about the fundraising, the cheerleading, the advocates, the signposters. We talk about going above and beyond. You don't need to do that. You don't need to click that button. But let me tell you, the number of people that it helps and supports is absolutely fantastic. So hats off to you, sir, as well, for the great work that you do. But yeah, I mentioned earlier on that I am a volunteer. And I volunteer for a wonderful organisation called Andy's Man Club. I came across Andy's Man Club on listening to a podcast, actually, a couple of years ago. I've been a mental health advocate for many, many years. My sister is no longer with us. My sister died tragically around 18 years ago after a long battle with her mental health. And from that moment on, the experience that I went through, the understanding how I'm feeling, the experience of those feelings flooding back and being forced to deal with it, and then beginning to open up, and all these experiences that I've had, I've wanted to turn that into supporting other people, and I've done that over the years. I've been a shoulder to cry on. I've been a welcome ear. I've been there for friends and family that have needed support. And then I heard about Andy's Man Club during a podcast, and I thought, that's it. That's what I can do. The whole premise of Andy's Man Club is facilitation. It's creating a safe space where people feel comfortable talking about their mental health. And I thought, well, that's what I do. I'm a leader, I'm a coach, I'm a facilitator. I do this at work. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do that as a volunteer as well. So just to give you a bit of a brief about what Andy's Man Club is, in 2016, at the very young age, the too young age of 23, a gentleman called Andy Roberts died by suicide. He took his life, and nobody around him knew that he was feeling that way. To everybody else in the outside world, and this is such a typical story, in that everybody around him thought that he was fine. He had a perfect life. He had good prospects. He had everything, the whole world in front of him. And he took his life. And after that traumatic experience, his mum, Elaine Roberts, and his brother-in-law, Luke Ambler, set up a men's mental health group called Andy's Man Club. It started with one group of 9 men, and this week, on Monday, we had just over 4,600 men walk through the door of 180 locations, and it really does benefit the lads that come through. I look after the club in my local community. I come from a very small ex-mining village called Horden, which was a beautiful place to grow up in, and it's not so beautiful anymore. Like many, maybe not all, but like many of the towns and villages in the northeast, years of underinvestment has brought the place down, and there are a lot of people that struggle with a lot of things. And what we do is, as I mentioned before, we create a safe space where men can come in and just get a cuppa and a few biscuits and have a chat and get some things off the chest. And the facilitators that I work with are, we all are users of the group first and foremost, and we've recruited well, so though people tend to attend the group, we see how the personalities come over the coming kind of weeks and months, and then we tap them on the shoulder and say, I think you'll be a great facilitator. Would it be something that you'd be willing to support? So, and that's how it organically grows, and that's how it's grown. I think there's well over 1,000 facilitators nationally now, and listen, I'm very proud of the work that we do at Andy's Man Club, and it really does matter to the people that's out there. The number of, you mentioned LinkedIn earlier on, I do videos and I share them and I talk about the questions, and it gets a little bit of interaction, but it's actually the private messages that I receive that helps me, that keeps me going. It's those messages in private that make me realise that the stigma still exists, and people don't necessarily feel comfortable being overt about the way that they are feeling or their family members are. But it is excellent the amount of people that it benefits.
Tommy, fair play to you, But I mean, if I can just jump in slightly there, I think over the years I've raised, I've been involved in various different fundraising activities for men's mental health. I've worked with different charities. I worked we did some big fundraising for Calm, Campaign Against Living Miserably,
Yes.
and it was a very long walks, and I've similar, not as tragic as yourself with a close family member, but I've lost close friends to suicide, and you worry about, you don't see it coming, and you just think, wow. Then you see the impact it has on the people that are left behind, and you just you never understand it, and that prompted me with a group of Fulham fans to start doing some fundraising, and like anything, it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was a significant amount of money and a lot of miles covered actually. But you mentioned something there, and this still stays with me. The private messages, for me, it was sometimes a message of support. It was, I lost my father. Don't stop. Thank you for talking. Thank you for spreading this message. I lost my brother. And it's so humbling. I'm only walking. We're sharing the story. We're sending a powerful message. But when you look at the biggest killer of men under 45 is suicide. That's sobering. If you look at the brilliant work the charities do, it's fantastic. To see from the outside looking in how big Andy's Man Club's got, it's featuring on the soaps, it's featured
Absolutely.
on Emmerdale, it's everywhere, it's well backed, and I think that only starts with those first 9 fellas in the room and people like you that are taking it on. And you mentioned the questions that are asked, and it's 5 questions. Let's talk. Bring that. Tell us about those questions, man. I know some of them change, but there's some consistency with them, isn't there?
They're absolute. Well, first of all, the 5 questions that we ask each Monday are asked at every single club. It's the same questions, doesn't matter which one you go into. The first 3 questions stay the same, which is, how's your week been? What's one positive from your week? And have you got anything to get off your chest? And there's a specific reason why that is, right? The first one, how's your week been? It's just a general chit chat, just to open you up, make you feel comfortable. It's something that you know about because you've just experienced it. So it's just to settle the nerves and just ease into the session, open you up. Obviously, the positive, we really struggle with that. I mean, this is one of the things that I found fascinating. The number of people that sit there and go, actually, I can't think of a positive, you can see the mind ticking over, trying to think of a positive, and some people genuinely have really, really tough weeks, and some of the conversations are really, really deep. Okay. What we encourage is that even if it's something so small, like for example, I went camping recently, and one of my positives would have been, we had a great time camping and we had a great time with the kids. But actually, the positive that I shared was on a morning, the kids and my wife, Melissa, Missy, we all call her. I best say Missy because she'll be wondering why I'm calling her Melissa. They sleep in. If I didn't wake them up, I think they just stay through to the next night, right? And
But you do wake them up with your cold showers at 5 o'clock, mate, don't you? So there you go.
Just throw them in after I'm done. But no, so the on a morning they're like a lion. I get up, as I say, I'm an early bird, but I get up, I make myself a cuppa, I sit outside. I can hear the birds tweeting, sun's peeking through the clouds, and I'm sitting there with myself in nature having a cup of coffee. And I think what we encourage with that question too is just look for the small things. It doesn't need to be a major positive, somebody winning an award or, presenting in front of hundreds of people or what. It just needs to be, what's the small thing? What made you smile this week? What was the one thing that you caught and you thought, wow, that was powerful, that was good? Because life isn't all about this Instagram culture of wonderful experiences. It's just little things. It's just little things that add value to our life. Yeah, and sometimes some people find it harder to see them than others. And that's the cold, hard reality of it. What we recommend is, listen, when you get something like that, just jot it down. Just make a little note. Everyone's got a mobile phone. Have a notes app. Send yourself a message on WhatsApp, send it to a friend. Tell them you've just had a great experience. You're out in the garden, a bird came down and sat on the fence and sang a little song and then flew away. But try to look for those little positives in life. And then question 3 is anything to get off your chest. And that can range from anywhere from someone undercut them while they were driving to a major share, something really deep and personal to that individual. So, and as I said, the questions are structured in a particular way to get the most benefit out of the club. Us as facilitators, is our job is to kind of keep people on track with those questions, try to keep it within the theme so that everybody gets an opportunity to share. And then question 4 and 5 tend to be something a little bit more kind of, a little bit more fun, get a bit of energy going. The question this week, which I'll share with you now and I'll get yours, right, is what was your favourite cartoon as a kid? So I'll give you mine first and give you a little bit of time to think about, which is the structure. That's what we do.
I can tell you now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Go on then.
Hong Kong Phooey.
Oh, I love a bit of Hong Kong Phooey. Absolutely, that's a great choice.
Number one superstar.
There you go. Mine was a cartoon called Ulysses, right? And it was somebody shared with me the theme tune. I can still remember the theme tune. And no, I'm not going to sing it for you. But somebody shared it with me on LinkedIn last week when I did the post, and it just took me right back to my childhood. Is absolutely brilliant. But that's what it does.
If you'd have asked me favourite children's programme, it'd have been unanimously Grange Hill.
Oh, there you go.
Without a shadow of a doubt. But cartoon, I'd default to Hong Kong Phooey. Maybe closely followed by D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds. But,
that's a good one.
It depends.
Yeah. Don't forget Super Gran as well. That was.
We could start. We could stay for a long time talking about kids' TV, mate. We really could. But that's a lovely question to get people talking. It gets you nostalgic. It gets you. I'm smiling now thinking about it.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? I mean, what we want to do is we want to ease them into it. We want to get thinking of positives. We want to give them the opportunity to share, and then we want to send them away on a high with some thoughts and feelings around. Okay, well, what am I going to do differently this week to make this week a little bit better? Just a little bit brighter. And what we find is that when people walk into the club, when they walk towards the door, you can see, you can feel the nervous tension that they've got. But what we love as facilitators is when they walk out the door and they're shaking the hand, the shoulders have dropped back down again, they've relaxed, they feel much better about themselves, and then they go off and they have a much better week. They come back in the following week and say, wow, what an impact that it's had. And that's what we live for, right? That's what we do it for. It's why we go
Fair
there
play
and give
to you.
our own personal time every week to open those doors, because we know what kind of positive benefit it has for people.
And you know, I just want the mental health conversations to continue. I'm not. This sounds so weird, but I'm not the biggest fan of Mental Health Week, so I don't think it should just be a 7-day branding exercise for people to, you know. I have a few issues with it actually. This should be part of a continual message. It should be a part of, you know, it's okay to feel shit. It's okay to not feel okay. You know, you've got to be there, and I'm often having conversations with people who are, you know, they're in difficult situations through their career, difficult situations through redundancy, difficult situations through life, and you know, you're sitting there as a business owner first, and you're thinking about your recruitment piece and your, you know, the commercial aspects of it, but then you got to work out, hold on, I'm a human first.
Yeah.
Hold on here. You know, we got to look at it in a different way. And as I said, over the years I've been in some tough places, some dark places, some horrible places, and we all need someone to talk to. And you don't always want that to be your family. You don't always want that to be your best mate. You know, you want to be able to kind of unload. And where fellas don't, and it's not just fellas, mental health with everyone, but where you don't, it can lead to other problems. And people think mental health and they go, oh, addiction, they think drugs and drinking and gambling, but it's not. You know, it can be, there's so much else that goes with it. So the work you do and the work Andy Man Club does, it should be celebrated. And there's 1,000 of these, like, nationally now, yeah.
Well, that's facilitators like me, volunteers.
1,000 facilitators. How many clubs? So 1,000 facilitators. How many clubs?
There are over 180 clubs now around the UK, and what's great as well is that it's all the same. As I said, mentioned the same question. Yeah. So I've been away with work recently, and I went and attended another club, and I did that.
Did you? Where did you go? Where did you go?
I went to Lichfield. So obviously my club's here in Horton.
Did you have to take the subtitles, or was you all right in the Midlands? Was you okay?
I slowed it down and accentuated my.
I was going to say. I was saying next time I'm in the northeast, if I time it right, I'll come along to one of your sessions. But I don't think anyone will understand me. They just think, who's that weird bloke? He's talking a lot.
We have some Southerners in our club as well. We have people from all over the country. We've got another guy from Bolton. We've got, listen, we have. And
you just said we've got Southerners.
No,
and you said we got a guy from Bolton.
Well, listen, anyone south of Middlesbrough is Southern to us, but no, we do have someone from Bolton, but we also have someone from London as well. We have someone from London.
There you go, mate. I don't want to turn it into a joke actually, because it's such a powerful message what you do, and I love the fact you share content. I love the fact you're there in the branding, in the hoodie, and you know, 10 men walks into a room, 2 for the first time, or whatever the numbers are. That's powerful. And you said there's like 4,000 people attending. It's magnificent work. It really is.
It is, and fair play to those that started this group in the first place. You know, Luke and Elaine, who took a tragedy and turned it into something absolutely wonderful. They literally. And I don't want to be overly dramatic here, and I'm not being overly dramatic when I say that this is saving people's lives. It genuinely is saving people's lives.
I would 100% agree, because it will. It will. You know, giving that, being there for people will save someone's life. It will, Tommy.
It definitely does. Just giving people a platform to open up, get some stuff off the chest, and you know. And you mentioned before, which is a really astute point actually, around you don't always want to tell your family member and your friends. People say, "Oh, just tell me about it," or "I'm here if you need me." The fact is that you don't want to. You feel when you're in that kind of mental space, you feel as though you're a burden to other people. The absolute last thing you want to do is to, as you believe, is to unburden yourself and upset, challenge, you know, somebody else, your friend, family, loved one. That's the last thing that you want to do. The best thing that anybody can do when they can tell that somebody's not themselves is to say, listen, I've noticed that X, Y, Z, you know, you've not been yourself, you don't seem to be sleeping very well, whatever the case may be. What have you noticed in that individual? And then signpost them to the services. I mean, the one that I always advocate, we're here talking about Andy's Man Club, right? But I love the Samaritans as well. They are there
Yeah,
24/7, 365 days or 366 days a year this year. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, it doesn't matter what day it is. They are there. They are beautiful humans that are there to listen. They can be contacted on 116123 at any time, which is a wonderful, wonderful service. And then also, just to give another one, just while I'm on this trail of thought, is there's a great app out there called Hub of Hope. That's not very good in my Geordie accent. Hub of Hope. And you can download it on your phone. You pop your postcode in, and it will tell you. You tell it kind of what your challenge is, and it'll tell you all of the charities and organisations in your local area that you can call upon. But it's a good point in that the stigma exists because, people look down on people that have got challenges with the mental health. That's a fact. It's the way that it is. It is easing, but we're nowhere near a place where there's no stigma for mental health. But it also exists because we hold it. So we hold the stigma ourselves, and then we don't open up, we don't talk, we don't seek out other places to go and get some support. Because as men, we kind of think, I've got this, I'm all right, I'll get on with it. It's just how we've been brought up. It's just the way it is. But we can change that by signposting the services that are out there, getting comfortable talking about the way that we feel, our own mental health. That then advocates other people to do that as well.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. I mean, when I was putting together this series and I was looking at, the theme resilience and talking about how you can overcome tough times in your life, you can overcome tough times in your career, you can battle back from bereavement, battle back from adversity, battle back from disability. There's so many stories of resilience to celebrate. Andy's Man Club and the work you're doing. I wanted to do an episode which was personal from the heart and showed that you can make a difference. And I think, Tommy, you're an example of how someone who's got a very busy life, all right, you're a leader in business, you're a busy family man with Owen, Adam, Lewis and Kate, and not forgetting Missy. Right, so you've got a family there, which that's a handful. You combine that work life, that's all going on, but you're finding that time to actually go out there, facilitate and support others. That's something which is a brilliant example of resilience, and it's a great episode for me to get to know you, but more importantly to talk about a subject which is close to my heart and should be close to everyone's heart, which is mental health, and in particular men's mental health. So Tommy, thank you. I'll go in the episode of one more thing, mate. You support the Geordies, I support Fulham. When I don't know when the fixtures are out, I don't think it's that far away, and we've got a tournament which will be going on when we air, so it'll be a bit difficult for us to talk too much about it. But do you think it might come home?
Yeah. God, you put me on the spot there. You're asking me if it's coming home.
It's a yes or no answer. It's not that big, is it?
Coming home. Oh,
I mean, look, if I said you want to come and work in Saudi Arabia, you can answer. But if saying is football coming home, yeah, is it coming home?
Yeah, I believe. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to believe we've got the team to do it. Yeah. Need to make sure that they show.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's because by the time this episode's released in 2 or 3 weeks, we might be out or we might be getting closer. No one knows. So it's kind of, because we're a few weeks away. We might have even lifted the trophy by the time it's out, or it might have all ended in penalty shootout heartbreak. But there you go. I've nailed my colours to the mast and said we may well just do it this time. So I'm there as well. But if you want to come down to Craven Cottage, the spiritual home of football, as I call it, Craven Cottage, by the River Thames, in my manor, where I'm from in Fulham, I'll get you tickets, mate. You're welcome down with some guests, and we're making a special trip for you, mate. All right.
So.
What I'll also do for you is I'll do for everyone listening, we will make sure that as the episode's released in all of our clips and footage and surrounding marketing, we really highlight Andy's Man Club, the Samaritans, and I quote, Hub for hope we will do that as well, mate. So it's been brilliant to get to know you. It's been brilliant to have you as part of the Foyne Jones Show. Thank you so much for being a guest, Tommy. You had fun. You enjoyed the conversation.
I loved it, Peter. Yeah, it's your energy. I always thought I was quite an energetic person, but your energy is unbounding, sir. Unbounding.
I rest and recover well. That's all I would say. And I'll tell you one, I'm 49 years young. I'm still having a go, and I'm still trying to smile. So that, sadly, is the end of this episode. Thanks once again to our sponsors at Carousel. Without you, we don't have a show. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, everyone.